that lady was exercising her First Amendment right. And the backstory is, I believe that woman who's cursing at the black reporter, I think she just lost her son. So, is that a factor in it? Of course it is. Of course it is. You lose your son, you may say anything. You may say anything. And the fact that she went straight there with her and started using racial slurs, it says something about how she feels about black people. It does. But a lot of people harbor these kind of feelings about other races, and they're too polite, they're too cultured, or they know better. They don't say it out loud. Tiffany writes, I got that. Brent writes, what's good, Nate and team and I, everything, Brent. Good to be with you at the top of the list. James writes, finally made it. Good morning, Chop Shop. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. Derek writes, I've just seen him. Wow. Yeah, that probably would have been my last day on the job because she would have got her ass whooped on camera too. Cannot touch a woman. You know that. Edward writes, I choose Stacey Dash for Gilligan of the Week. And I didn't hear the clip, LOL. Mila writes, there's no respect for each other and our elders anymore. They really need to catch that guy. If he did that to an old man, what are you going to do to somebody else? That's right. Yeah, whoever did that to that man is dangerous. Right, if you would prey on an older man like that, listen, you can take him, okay? And I was just struck at the fact that this man was just throwing that brick at him and nailing him. I mean, he hit him real good. Boom, he went straight down. Brent writes, the culture needs to honor and protect our elders, and a nomination isn't good enough. He needs to be beat down and jailed. I most certainly agree. I most certainly agree with that. It's not strong enough. Listen, before you go blaming hip-hop, I'm sure that's not the first time that somebody has abused or tried to rob an elderly person, because if you're looking at it from a standpoint of, I just want to get what you got and I want to do it in the quickest way possible, then, hey, he made to that guy, he may have appeared to be a perfect target. Took his car, didn't sell his car, took his car, authorities got it later. So apparently he just wanted to beat him. And as I was watching the video, at some point you can tell this old man is no longer a threat. Like, he's down and nearly out. He's down and nearly out. And the young man comes over in the video and keeps hitting him. And I'm thinking, okay, this is not about the car. This is about him, his rage. I mean, this person's upset. Tiffany writes, her son was shot by the police. Absolutely right. I seen that, right? James writes, Mayor Cranley and Harry Black, co-Gilligans of the week for criticizing the prior administration, then doing the same damn things in regards to MSD. Angela writes, not sure if there's been a nomination, but my vote goes to Tommy Loren for her response to Jesse Williams' BET speech. I agree. Jesse Williams' speech brought out the hate. It did. The way people reacted to it or responded to it. And Fox News, they were like, why is this young man so upset? He's light-skinned, he's got the gray eyes. Okay, he's been working out lately. Look at this. He's getting applause. The ladies are loving him. What's to be upset about? Mr. Jesse Williams, oh, he's angry. See, that's how they label you if you have righteous issues that need to be addressed. That's a part of the game that's happened, right, as black people have been struggling for their piece of the American dream. When you don't get it, it's like, wait a minute. Hey, you're an American, buddy. You're an American. Just be happy to be an American. Why are you so upset? Harry writes, first brick hit his back, and the second brick that missed would have done damage. Yeah, absolutely. It would have done serious damage. And Bat writes, this guy must not have grandparents, elderly uncles or aunts, or he just does not care. Needs to be thrown under the jail. Second my damn head. I agree with her on the surface. I mean, obviously, they need to do some kind of evaluation on this person. Maybe there's some mental issues, something like that. Not really sure. Maybe there's some drug addiction, some kind of drug abuse. Now, if somebody's super high on a bunch of stuff, maybe he went to a different place, and that's not who he really is anymore. Okay, maybe. or some emotional issues, because that's the first thing I'm thinking, Pat. If you got elderly people in your family that you love and care of, how could you do that to someone else? Or maybe, hey, some folks can do that. They can separate it. You ain't my grandfather. You ain't my uncle, right? So, hey, what difference does it make? Speaking of beat downs, and I want to ask you if you have this experience, because when I was younger, my grandmother primarily, but my grandfather, he might have got a couple licks in here or there. But my grandmother, when I got out of line when I was younger, she never ran and got a belt. She didn't run and hit me with her hand or something like that. She used to get a switch. And I don't know what it was about the bushes and the vegetation around my grandparents' home over in Walnut Hills, but they had a couple of places where you could just get the perfect switch, which was like, it was thick enough so that it had some weight to it, but it was thin enough that it would slice through the air like with military precision, right? Like a Ginsu knife, like a samurai blade. You could hear it. Those were the perfect switches, like literally. Like when she would miss or she would whip it through the air, it would make a sound. So you knew there was some velocity on it. And would you believe, and that happened many times. I mean, it was just the way it was. Myself, all the kids, that's just the way it was. An Arkansas grandmother was arrested for disciplining her 12-year-old granddaughter with a switch, right? The girl claimed that her grandmother, 70-year-old Norma Toussaint, I'm looking at an image of her right now, had become angry when she didn't throw her food away. She claimed that Toussaint had hit her several times on the same arm with a switch from a bush that was in front of the yard. Toussaint claimed that she was disciplining the young girl for talking back to her. Can you believe that the grandmother has been arrested and charged with domestic battery? Damn, that's domestic battery? Well, then I've been the victim of domestic battery. And here's the other part about it. Don't forget the psychological angle, which is not only do I have to get beaten by a switch, I have to go get it. You tell me, wait. I got to walk outside and go get the tool of my own pain and destruction. If that ain't torture, okay, that's like kid waterboarding. All right? Charges should be filed. Do you think that, this is in Arkansas, not in Ohio. This is in Arkansas. And I'm looking at a photograph of the grandmother. This might be her mugshot. And she looks like one of those women that'll beat that you-know-what with a switch. She got it all over her face. It's written all over her face. And how exactly did the police find out? You telling me 12-year-olds are doing that now? There's no respect for the elderly at all. 12-year-old apparently gets in contact with the police and lets them know that her grandmother, like, wait, I'm with you every day taking care of you, trying to shape you into something. 12 years old, going on 22, and you got the nerve to call the police? The nerve? Is that abuse? Is using a switch on a child in and of itself abuse, or does it matter on the severity that you strike the child? And I mean, how do you gauge that? I mean, if you're going to get a switch and give a kid a good whack, I mean, I don't want it to leave a long bruise, but if it does, then it will remind you of what I told you, right? Is that the kind of old school discipline that has like lost its utility? You know, that's a generation ago, 20 years ago. These days, you got to put your kids in timeout. I don't know. Talk about working with your oppressor. And that happened to me many times. Like, as I'm talking to you right now, I can remember the scenario where I had to walk out the front door, walk around the porch, walk down the driveway, into the back, and go get the switch from the bush that my grandmother told me to get it from. Like, for instance, I don't know if she took me outside or, we were just outside one day and she showed me where she was getting her switches from. And she's like, listen, if I ever ask you to go outside and get me a switch, you get me a switch from this bush. I used to hate that bush, man. Used to hate that little vegetation. I hate you, tree. I hate this bush. Growing all these damn perfect switches. She had like 2 or 3 of them. I mean, she was like a deadly arsenal. And they would sit up in the windowsill. And, eventually they would just kind of dry out and die, or they would break. Man, I used to love it. What Granny never knew is that when I got a little older and got hip to the game, I would sabotage the switches. That's right. I put a little break in them, and it wouldn't be broken all the way. But as soon as she gave it a really good whack, it would always break off. Then I'd go outside and I'd get the switch I wanted to get. I'm not getting you no damn healthy switch to beat me with, woman. No. Not at all. Greg writes, OMG, the switch. My grandma used to keep at least 3 switches by her rocking chair. And we have to go outside and cut the switch. And if it was too small, go get another one. All right, Craig. Telling you, man, it's similar experiences. It's the same way. She had about 3, 4 of them. For me, my little brothers, any kids that came over. That's how grandma was. If you dropped her kids off with her, listen, don't be talking about here. Don't whoop your kids. She don't want to hear all that. I'm watching the kids. He talking back. Man. See what else. Tiffany writes, I'm sorry, she would be in foster care. She's too old to be dealing with a bad preteen. James writes, everyone, please be safe with those grills this weekend and make sure it's out before putting that grill in the garage. Jericho writes, side note, has anyone viewed Hidden Colors 4? ? I have not. I've seen about 3 or 4 clips from Hidden Color 4, but I have not seen it. Daryl writes, I've seen that. The charges are dropped against the grandmother. Yeah, but should they have ever been filed? So she had ever been arrested at all? Now, that's the issue. You talking about inconveniencing your day. I got to go downtown now? Amelia writes, thanks to Lord, my mama wasn't into switches. My neighbor's mom was, and I remember watching them get their own switches. That's right. It's like, it's the psychological terror. You talk about dead man walking. Wait. You want me to go outside and get the very thing that you're going to use to strike me? I don't think so. You go get it. That's what you think as a child, but of course you don't say that. Rhonda writes, most of the time the media labels conscious black people that speak on injustice, standing up for yourself, and black pride is labeled as angry or militant. Jesse Williams just let the world know that light-skinned people have black pride also, and that also trying to pass as white, how they are always betrayed as. Good flow. Brent writes, my granny would put a switch in hot water so it wouldn't be brittle and break. What? There's a science to it? This deadly alchemy of discipline? Southern discipline for kids? Put it in hot water. Tiffany writes, put your kids in timeout and you will end up on the 6 o'clock news because your kid tried to take you out because they couldn't get their way. That's right. And some of these folks, man, are raising kids who one day are going to take them out the game because of the way that you're raising them. You can't get everything you want. I tell my daughter, sometimes I just say no. I do. Because you have to understand the power of no. You're going to hear it more than yes. And no means no. Tiffany writes, I read that. Kush writes, word, Nate. The only thing worse than getting a whooping with the switch is making you walk down and pick out the switch. Wow, right. And I'm like, what does that feel like as the grandparent? To know you just told your grandchild that not only are you sentenced to get a whooping, but you got to go get the tool that I'm going to use to carry out the sentence. I mean, in that 5, and again, I was stretching it out. I'll be out there 20 minutes as I got older and got hip to the game. It's like, man, she's 70. I'm just going to wait her out. I got balance energy. I got some water this morning, got a good breakfast. I don't have to go home until it gets dark. And that's it. Maybe she'll calm down.